What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. Uh, Today is a different video. I'm gonna keep looking on the, on the left, and I'm gonna keep looking down. Have my materials here. I'm checking the recording. Okay. But yeah, today is a different video. Today we're gonna talk about Linux. I recently migrated to Linux, as you can see, different desktop that I have. And I would like to incentivize people to change to Linux. And hopefully, by me sharing my story, my progress, it can maybe motivate you to also change and come over because, yeah, we're kind of done with Microsoft shenanigans. Anyways, let's get started. So, who the hell am I? Why the hell am I doing this video? Da, 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 da. Okay, so I'm a professional in IT, 5 or 6 years of experience. I do, even though I look like a dumbass, I do hold uh, a degree in computer science. So I kind of know what I'm talking about because I used it before, for many years, even before that, right? Um, so yeah, let's get started. So what the hell is Linux? What is Linux, right? Well, Linux is a kernel. That's it. Thank you, everybody. No, I'm kidding. A little bit more in depth than that. So, Linux is just a kernel. If we go here, you can actually go to Linux, I believe .org. There you go. You can download Linux. There you go. Or if we type actually Linux kernel, there was another one. Oh yeah, kernel.org. Yeah. Linux kernel is so good that this entire need. So there you go. This is Linux. Go get it, use it. Good luck. But jokes aside, yeah, Linux is just a kernel if you think about it. It is the most used kernel on the planet. It has been around ever since, I don't know, 1969 or some shit like that. It started as a hobby project of, Linus Torvalds, and now it pretty much powers the entire web, entire infrastructure. So if there's a server out there, most likely it's using Linux. There was a server done long time ago that said something like, oh, 99.6% or whatever. So you can just say 100, it wouldn't matter. So every server out there uses Linux, but it always been a struggle to put it on desktop. But recently, through the efforts of Valve and even changes to the kernel itself to supporting these changes, now we are starting to see more dominance in the Linux desktop. So Linux itself is a kernel, but let's talk about it. What the hell is a kernel? So for the non-technical people, so the kernel is simply a intermediary, right? You can think of an API, application programming interface. So it's an intermediary, you can think like that, that it tries to handle all the hardware, right, for the OS. So every time the OS or an application on the OS level, we call it user space. So every application that wants to connect to the hardware, they simply have to talk with through the kernel, and this is how the kernel handles that. So let's imagine like this. Oh, Adobe, yeah, freaking Adobe. They want to validate if you have a valid license, right? So what they would have to do if the kernel didn't exist, let's say, they would have to write, for example, the entire network stack on their application, right? And that's everybody doing that. Every game needs to do that. Every software that exists needs to do that because there's nobody to talk to, right? But because we have a kernel now, so it becomes this low-level guard, pretty much, that allows everybody to kind of access what is underneath, right? And through that, we don't have to write our own APIs. We don't have to write our own things just to access the hardware. Think, for example, right now I'm using a webcam. I have a microphone. It's not visible, but it's here. So my mouse, keyboard, all this stuff. So you imagine literally millions of devices like that, right? So instead of us writing the drivers, the way to communicate, the libraries and everything to communicate to all these millions and millions of devices, instead we just use the kernel. We just talk with the kernel and the kernel will handle that for us. How the kernel does it, if he doesn't do it, if he's gonna delay or shit, that doesn't matter to us from the application level. So this is why the kernel is there. So, okay, every time we install a new hardware, the kernel will talk with this hardware, and then we don't have to, we offload all these responsibilities to the kernel. We just trust that the kernel will do it. So Linux is currently used not only on these servers, but for example, the fridges, the Android, right? They use customized version of this Linux kernel. I believe even PlayStation, but PlayStation probably uses FreeBSD. Don't quote me on that, something like that. So everybody uses pretty much a customized version of the Linux kernel, and then it's pretty much everywhere. It's just on the desktop for some reason that has been a slow embrace. And then we can divide because since every OS needs a kernel pretty much, so we can divide uh, the systems into two families. There's the Unix family, where we have the FreeBSD, OpenBSD, the macOS, which is a customized version of either of those. There's the Linux kernel that used to be a Unix, but now is dead pretty much. They're still in some devices, but we can consider that it's fine. You, as a regular individual, you're not going to interact with those type of this type of kernel unless there's a specific use for it, right? So we have the Unix side, which is everybody on that side, and then we have the DOS family. The DOS family is pretty much the Windows NT, Windows DOS kernel, so that's from Microsoft side. And then this is the reason, if you really think about it, why some programs don't work, because it's literally have to talk with a different kernel, right? Imagine you travel from one country to the other. It's hard for them to, for them to speak English because it might not be their native language, it might not be their official language. You don't know how it's gonna be, right? So this is pretty much the difference that been happening. So what makes the Linux kernel so special? What makes the Linux kernel so special is, like you saw, I showed you a website. You can just download and use it. It's so modular, right? That it doesn't need any other. It doesn't need any other component, if you think about it. So you can just take it, load it, and use it. I made my own OS on top of it. You can make your own OS on top of it. You can use this kernel. You can do whatever the hell you want. So because so much, you can use many components to it. This is the reason why the Linux is so popular. I already discussed where it's used to. Now let's talk about this is the general, right? And then let's talk about some of the not bad things, because if you think about it, there's nothing bad with it. It's just, things that may be seen as negative. If you migrate to a Linux on the desktop, because this is the goal of the video, you need to be aware that, okay, this environment, it might not be for everyone. And the reason why I say that is because, okay, if you've been using Windows your whole life, I give you a MacBook, right? You might not get familiar with it right away, right? Oh, some things, okay, moving the mouse right now, okay, every OS moves the mouse, but okay, but the underlying things, right, that makes the kernel or this OS different, you might not get familiar with it, and there is some learning curve. So if you're not a patience person, if you don't want to take your time with it, if you don't want to actually take your time and learn and maybe look thing around, then this might not be for you, okay? This might not be for you. And there are many Linux distributions, for example, even this one that I'm using, that doesn't come with a desktop environment. You can think of the visual thing, like it doesn't come with the mouse. You cannot see the mouse. There's only a terminal. Let me show you something like this. It just comes with this, and then you can interact with it. The original version of Windows, actually, where Gabe New work with it, it only had this, just to give you some idea. So yeah, that can be seen as a negative, so if you think, okay, yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna go for it, it might not be for you if you're not this patient person. Then there is the fact that, okay, because it speaks literally a different language, It's literally from a different family. Not all software can run on it. For example, here in this environment, even though I have it working, I can open the browser. I may not be able to run all type of software. Adobe is not gonna run here, right? Everybody pretty much knows that at this point. And some of the games, for example, this is the things that hold back. Is either the professional work or the kernel level anti-cheats, right? If you play Fortnite, Fortnite is not available on Linux, so you're not gonna be able to play. All these Call of Duties, all of these, what's Apex Legend, all these games that use kernel level anti-cheat, they might not be available. I believe League of Legends was there before, but then now they removed the support or something like that. GTA 5 was an example. Rockstar, they added an anti-cheat, and then because of the anti-cheat that they added, it doesn't allow the Linux kernel to be, to be running. So from time to time, yeah, this is another thing. From time to time, you might need to interact with the terminal, but this is true even for Windows or for Mac. That okay, I want to change the brightness, for example, right? At the moment, I don't have a way to do it. Either I use my hardware, right? I use the command, the buttons on my monitor, or I just go for a tool on the terminal. So this is kind of how it looks like if I want to change. Is that true for every distribution that is out there? No, but it's just something that to be aware that sometimes you may have to use the terminal. Even you gonna Google something so simple like changing the brightness again. It's like okay, people might not provide you step-by-step guide. Oh, click here, do this, do this, do that. Da, 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 da. They might just give you a command and then you have to kind of work your way out of it. So please keep in mind. And because, okay, let's assume you are familiar with Windows commands. The Linux commands are different. They are more close to the macOS or Darwin, they call it, kernel, but they're not the same. There, of course, there's gonna be some specificity when it comes to the Mac OS rather than the Linux one. Just something to be aware. What else? And then I had two issues. For example, I've been rocking this one for a couple of days now, but this installation, I used it before for months now. I was like, all right, it's good enough. It got to a point where I decided to, migrate here. I will be talking about it a little bit later on. Just hold it on for now. So I had two issues where I installed the sound packages, uh, and the device that was set as default was my microphone. The microphone was pretty much set as input and output, so I was getting no sound. That was weird. I had to kind of debug. I had to kind of look around. So that was kind of. I wish it worked before because in my previous installation it actually worked fine. It's just this time for some reason it selected the wrong device, but I managed to figure that one out. And then there was another issue about the interface. So like I mentioned, the Linux kernel is so modular that and they have stupid issues that you never think about it when you use these other OSs. So my network sometimes worked, but then you restart and then it doesn't work. I checked, for example, the connectivity, and then it would say, for example, that it's down. So I had to manually look it up. I was talking with the AI to kind of figure it out. Until a couple of days trying multiple options, nothing was working. I tried, because I was thinking, okay, maybe it's at the HCP, when you gather the IP from the router, pretty much. I was thinking that's the problem because sometimes it was not getting the IP, but I was like, okay, if it's not getting the IP, let me change the client. Maybe the client is the problem. So I changed like 3 different clients, but it's always the same thing. I was like, okay, so it's not the DHCP client. So I kind of had to troubleshoot backwards. I was talking with the AIS for saying some bullshit like, okay, the router is the problem, restart the router or whatever. It's like, okay, I'm connected to the cable. So that's one hop. There's nothing in between them. There's no collision. There's nothing. So that's kind of funny to see. But then, here and there, I, came across the this command. Let me zoom in for you. The message, that you have to do duals, and then you do this. Let's just grab for my issue. if 0, for example. So you see this, I pretty much have a bunch of up and down, 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 a bunch of this, like literally like 20 plus. I was like, okay, maybe this is the issue. But then, you know, I was talking with AI again, and then he understood that, okay, this means is a Realtek interface or NIC, I believe. And then, yeah, through this, he said, oh, you have to modify the drivers. I was like, okay, why the hell do I need to modify the driver? Maybe I'm missing the package. And then I figured out, oh, yeah, that's it. I did install one of the packages, and this is the reason why everything was not working. And then it's like, okay, open the browser, nothing loads in, a bunch of errors that make no sense. So it wasn't working properly. As soon as I installed that package, all problems went away. So it's like a couple of days I didn't have good internet. I wasn't even able to record this video because of it. So this type of stuff that, you know, Linux puts you through it. But hey, at least I learned, right? I learned something new. So if you're not a curious person, Linux might not be for you. Now let's go for the good, because not everything is negative. The reason, you know, one of the reasons I left Microsoft is because, okay, what was holding me back there was the Windows 10 license, right? Windows 10 license. I had Windows 10, but they decided to end support for Windows 10. Then I was like, okay, let me hack my way into it. So, you know, I was using LTSC to get a couple more years. If you know, change the reg or reg editor, you know, change a bunch of stuff there, you can go to IoT that gives you up, I believe, to 32 or something. You can get like a couple more years with it. But I was like, okay, why are we doing all of this? It's like, then there's like, for example, the tracking, the ads, that Windows 11, not even Windows 10. The reason why I was there was Windows 10. If we had those updates that we receive on Windows 11, I would have left long ago. It's like Windows 11, they pushing more and more for this agentic system or whatever. That's something I don't want. I'm a person that, okay, I know my way around the terminal. I kind of know what I'm doing. So for me, I can handle myself. I don't need this agentic OS that you are pushing me, Microsoft, towards me. I don't want. I don't want. I don't want. Right? These ads, these trackings, and then it's like, okay, literally for the past few months, every other update there was some issue with it. Right? Either they breaking the boot. Either they enabling BitLocker. They are breaking the Linux installation, right? The Linux bootloader. They are adding more AI everywhere. They are making the task manager so, okay, every time you close task manager, it creates a new instance. It's like, this is something that was solved years and years ago, but you having these issues. Why? Because 30% of the code is being written with AI. This is where you get this type of situation. So yeah, that kind of frustrated me, right? Even though I was on Windows 10, but I knew, okay, at some point the support will end. Then it's a decision. Okay, will you continue with Windows 11 or will you go try something else? Another alternative would be to go for Hackintosh, right? I was watching some videos and whatever, but I was like, I don't want to do that. Have an NVIDIA GPU, I don't think it's gonna work. And then it's like, okay, I have a Mac, I have a laptop here, M1, I'm still rocking MacBook Pro, whatever. So I'm good on that front, right? I just want a place to play my games, make videos like this, and have some, you know, I don't have to think about stuff. This is the thing with me. I don't like to think about stuff. So I try to automate as much as possible and get things out of my way so I don't think about it because it's already automated, it's already scripted somewhere. So it was not for me. It was not for me at all. Yeah, so that's the reason why I left. This is the reason why I'm using the Linux kernel. I think everybody pretty much migrating slowly. And what I want to say about it is like, okay, if we don't do anything, things will continue the same way, right? So the status quo will be the same. It's like, okay, today they're not allowing you to, for example, there's this thing with the local account, right? Today they're not allowing you to use local account. What the hell is gonna be there tomorrow? I don't know. But hey, I migrated now. I don't have to think about it. No stress, no tracking, limit the hell alone. Yeah. Now for the tips and tricks, because it's not all doom and gloom and whatever. So tips and tricks. So moving forward, this is the advice. This is the bit. This is the reason why I made this video. Let me take a sip. Hold on. All right. So there are two categories the way I see it. There is the professional, and then there is the personal. For the professional, usually we don't have a choice. What our employer provides, that's what goes. Which tools to use, which OS to use, whatever. So I'm not gonna be talking on that front because you have to adhere to the employer policy, right? Either just through because of security, because it's mandated. I don't care. That's on you and your employer. That's between you and your employer. I have nothing to do with it. So let's talk on a personal level, right? How would you or how could you approach this migration to this OS? Step 0, back up your data. Okay, back up your data. Regardless of what happens, you always need to have your data somewhere. Either back up to the cloud, either you buy a drive, either you do something. I don't care, back up your data. Because even Windows itself is fucking up a bunch, right? They added React on the start menu. They added React JavaScript on the kernel, so be careful with that, you know? So back up your data. This is step 0, right? This is mandatory. Everybody has to do it. Then there is the if you have money, right? This is the step 0.1. If you have money, just get yourself a MacBook. They are coming out with M5s now. There is the Mac Minis. I've seen it that they're good enough for day-to-day use. If you have money, just buy your way out of this stuff if you don't want to deal with it, and you'll be fine. That's also a possibility, right? But now for the step 1. So after you backed up your data, what should you do? I would recommend you to start, that's the thing, not even leaving Windows. If you like Windows, you are okay with everything that Microsoft is doing, you don't care about these updates, whatever, fine. Stay on Windows. It's okay, okay? It's okay. What I ask you to do is simply, okay, try to use tools, right? That are open source, right? That are free and open source. Why? The reason for it is, okay, most tools that are free and open source, they usually multi-OS or multi-platform, right? They usually built for the 3 OSs. We have companies like, okay, Adobe, that they just make for Mac, they make for Windows, that's it, right? So if we're ever going to migrate even away from Windows, but you're not necessarily gonna go to Linux, you might just get the macOS version. So you get yourself a Mac and then boom, your tools are the same. So try to have this compatibility already integrated. And then regardless of the underlying OS, it doesn't matter where you're gonna go, what you're gonna do, right? So that's my biggest recommendation. And if you are okay, you can just stay right here. Migrate to any multi-platform, multi-build OS tool and you'll be fine. Think, for example, your editor, right? Instead of using something that's okay, it's only built exclusive for Windows, maybe you want to go for something that is cross-platform. And then, okay, your Windows break, you go to a friend's house or whatever, you still can work on your on their computer because they're using Mac OS or something else or or Linux or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Now for the Linux part, and this is optional, even though I incentivize people to try it out, but this is optional. Try out Linux on the desktop. There are multiple ways to do it. This is step 2, right? There are multiple ways to do it. You can, within Windows, you can simply have WSL. WSL, I don't think I have it here, but let's look it up. Should be fast. WSL2, to be more specific. There you go. You can read about it, what it is, what it does, da 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 da. But WSL is simply, let me zoom in for the, for the small screens. WSL is simply Windows, it's confusing name. It's Linux on Windows. There you go. Yeah. So you get one terminal that looks more or less like this. And then you can do all the Linux commands. And then you can get familiar with it. You can get started with it. It is able, through some configuration, whatever, it is able to see all the files from Windows. I'm not sure if maybe you, for example, you can copy over or something, but Windows, the way I used it, it wasn't able to see the files in WSL because again, it's a completely different family of kernel, right? So whenever you're done, just copy over the files and it shall be fine. And that's more than enough, right? That's more than enough. This video is just to incentivize you to go out and try it out. That's it. If you can do that for me, I'll be happy, even if you don't fully migrate. For me, that's more than enough. Just enable WSL, try it out some commands so you can understand what it's doing, and then that should be more than enough. Another way to try would be via VM. VM stands for not virtual memory. Oh my god, my brain. Virtual machine. There you go. Yeah, virtual machine. That one. So it's a virtual machine. That means you're simulating the entire OS inside your current OS. So there are two programs that I recommend to take a look. There's VirtualBox, fully free. There's also VMware. I heard that one of their versions is free. So just look it up if you're interested. But VirtualBox is the one that everybody pretty much uses. So install VirtualBox, try it out, this Linux. There are many videos and instructions on how to install, where to install. If I recommend, for example, there is, don't mind my recommendation, it's fine. There is Linux, Learn Linux TV, for example. And then here even has the, oh, there you go, the installation of Arch. And I use this one, for example, to install my current OS. I used parts of this video, for example, yeah. Just go through his channel. It has all the installation. He installs actually on bare metal, which is the hardware, not the virtualization, nothing. So go for it. There are other channels out there. Go ahead, follow their instructions, just install. Yeah, this will be one way to do it. If you want to go a little bit deeper, right? We talk about levels here. You could have a dual boot. What the hell is a dual boot? Dual boot means, okay, you install Linux and Windows on the same drive. I do not recommend doing that. You can like partition the disk a little bit and then put Linux there, and then you could be able to boot. But because Microsoft is breaking, right, through updates, they're breaking the boot of other OSs, aka Linux. I don't recommend doing that. What I recommend is everybody nowadays, if they have their own build or whatever, they usually have two drives, or you can just buy another drive, SATA drive, NVMe, whatever. Just put it in there and then install Linux on that drive. You still have the dual boot, but they are in separate drives, and one OS doesn't disturb the other, which is actually pretty cool. And this is the setup that I used for a while now. For the past few months, I've been using this one. And then if in case of problems or whatever, one doesn't impact the other, right? Which is pretty good. The final one would be to make a full wipe. Full wipe means, okay, you're installing Linux. You can just delete the entire Windows partition. This is what I did for this installation. Right now, I don't have any. Let's see. Let me just zoom in for you a little bit. And then we do let's be okay. As you can see, there's no Windows here, no Windows to be found. This is a second drive that I have, 2 terabyte disk. I'm gonna be using this as a backup, but I have my Linux here, and that's all there is to it. Yeah. One thing I want to mention is the ISO editor underground here, talking from the future. So yeah, I just wanted to add on a little bit. Something that for some reason I forgot, but it is what it is. So most distros, right? One of the other ways to experiment Linux, most distros, they do have a live preview, right? With this live preview, you are able to not only see what the system looks like, especially all those beginners distros, yeah? You can see how the distro looks like, how it feels, how does it behave, and most importantly, how your hardware is compatible with the distro, right? You're able to check, you're able to verify, validate, before you actually perform the installation. So most distros, they have that. Ubuntu has that, Debian has that. The distros mentioned in the beginner guide, most of them have that, right? In the advanced level, unfortunately, we don't, but it's something that, okay, why are you using an advanced, distro if you're not an advanced user. So just something to be aware of. And then there is, let me go here. Sorry, not this one. This one. There's a website called ProtonDB. I forgot to mention for some reason. I don't know why. ProtonDB, you can just come here and check if your favorite game is available on Linux. Then you just type, I don't know. Let's say Arc Raiders. It just came out. Maybe without a space. Why can't I see Arc Raiders? I saw the other day. Oh, there you go, Arc Raiders. Yeah, you can see there are status to it. If I go back, this tells you the overall percentages. Yeah, what you want to aim for is something that is, you know, in the perfect world, everything that is platinum or golden above, more or less. And then it's like, okay, verified. That means okay, people were able to play on the Steam Deck, and I believe this is verified by Valve. Then you have playable. That means okay, people are able to get to the menu. They play a little bit, but something. Oh, you have it here. Oh my god, yeah. Oops, yeah, you have it here. So yeah, verified or playable. This is by Valve, right? Or is it users? I don't know, but this is a this is a user type website. So if I go for, let's go for Arc Raiders again, which is a recent game, you can see that it has status platinum. And people saying, oh, what they had to do, what configuration they had to change in order to play on Linux. You can filter by hardware. For example, I do have a GPU of NVIDIA, right? Sometimes, unfortunately, you're not able to see because not everybody reports, but you can see we have most positives, and then they might, oh, just add this and the launch option, and then you go and do it, yeah? What other game is there? I believe Battlefield won't be possible, but let's just show anyways. There's Battlefield 1. See, it's silver. That means, yeah, minor issues. But then this one is good. This one is gold. The other one silver. You have all the options here. It's just something to be aware since you migrate to a different kernel, yeah? The final one is very, very important in regards to security, because you know nobody cares about security. Please, please, please do not simply copy paste and execute commands. There's a bunch of trolls out there. There's a bunch of people that might pry in your naivety, not knowing what the command does. So my recommendation is, or a script, for example, oh, run this script will fix everything, but no, you're getting hacked. So make sure to either search or simply ask AI what the script is doing. We now have AI, so go for it and ask before you start executing. The biggest throw that people usually do, let me show you here if we can increase the font. Oh, they be like, oh, remove the French. So they like, okay, RM is to remove the French, you don't need it. If you do this, you're gonna break your system, so please don't do that, okay? Yeah, just have to be aware. Editor out, continue with the video. We are here. Embrace the distros, okay? Embrace the distro. This is the final frontier for the devices here. Embrace the distros. There are over 100 something distros on Linux. Does that mean you have to try it out? You have to panic which one to use? No. I will give you my advice in a bit, which ones to use. But embrace the distros. The reason why we have so many distros is because, like I showed you, everybody can just download it and make their own distro. They make their own Linux distribution, their own Linux OS, kind of. And then this is kind of how it has been, yeah? Some distros are based on others, so you can, you know, you kind of benefiting from both. Let me show you something interesting that I just remember. There was something like end of 10. End of 10, yeah. Find some help installing Linux yourself. Do it your way. It was somewhere here. Where is it? Oh, it was something like distro. Not distro. I forgot the name. But let's see if we can find it. Which distro? Distro chooser? Yeah, it was this one. It was this one. Yeah. So you can do this test. The website's all the links I'm gonna leave it below. So you can just put it, you know, you can just go through it. It's gonna ask you, hey, what you're gonna use. Do you care about this? Do you care about that? So go for it. I don't know who maintains this, but that was good. And for the inputs that I provided when I used it, it was able to give me a good recommendation based on my choices. So is it perfect? No, but it's just something you can use on the side. If you're a person that uses just the web, right? You just use browsers, you use Discord, you have very light gaming. I think it's more than enough for you to go to Linux because it already has those things and it will work pretty much fine. Most distros they have support for this, right? They just work out of the box and you can just start using it. And you don't have to think about terminal, you don't have to think about anything. You can just go ahead and use it, right? Install your games on Steam and whatever. So um, that's more than enough. Linux can very easily replace those. There are some intensive games, those kernel advantages they cannot run, so let's not discuss about them. But some AAA games, for example, that they drop day one and they already have Linux support. The biggest push that we have for this Linux support is coming from Valve. They make the Steam Deck. They now release a new Steam machine, so that will push developers to start to optimize their games, or even release a Linux version of their games, for our OS. But yeah, now let's talk about the distros. Which distro am I using? Which distro do I recommend? Let's talk about it. So here we have it. I compiled a list of distros. Let's start from the beginner. So this is the beginner tier, right? If you're very beginner, you never heard about Linux, you don't even know what the hell is a terminal, so these distros are for you. Are these the easiest distros throughout the multiverse? No, there's no possible way I can go through all of the distros and recommend you 100, 200 list, whatever. No, but these are some of the distros here. I use them. Others I hear good things about it. So you should be fine. You should be fine. So yeah, let's start with the Debian. So Debian is something that pretty much works. You can see the website is very, very ugly. That means the product is really, really good. That's usually how it goes. There's no other way. Because usually people that try to make the website look very pretty, usually the product sucks. But yeah, Debian, you can see the UI is very shitty, but it works, okay? It works. Debian is known to be a very stable distribution. It is the base for Ubuntu. So if you ever hear, oh, Ubuntu based distro, they're also indirectly based on Debian, right? It prides itself for being very stable. It's something to be aware. It doesn't come with the latest packages. This is something that everybody's is aware, and this has the good and the bad side of it, right? So the pros and cons always. So the pro is like let's start with con. Con is that okay, you're not getting the latest packages. So if you are gaming, probably this distro is not for you unless you're gonna be able to use like testing or some other versions of it, right? Because you don't get latest packages, yeah. So if there's a new version of Proton or whatever, you're not gonna be able to access it, right? You're just not gonna be able to access it unless you're gonna go and reverse engineer yourself. But this is a very good beginner distro. It's just gonna work out of the box, and yeah, everybody loves Debian pretty much. The con of it is that okay, because you're not getting the latest packages, if there's a vulnerability that is happening out there, for Debian, you're not gonna receive it, so you're gonna be fine. There was this SSH vulnerability that happened long ago, but Debian, I believe it was fine because it was on a separate version. So that vulnerability got taken care of, and then Debian just updated to the latest version, which is cool. So pros and cons, depends how you see it. And the reason why there's so many distributions is because you can just pick the one that works for you, right? If you don't like this particular aspect, okay, don't use this distribution because there's another that actually removed that aspect. Do not be afraid of distro hop. You actually have to distro hop. Distro hop is just changing the distribution. There are people that, okay, they install distribution for a week and then they migrate, right? They install for 3 weeks, they migrate. 1 month, they migrate. So it's not supposed to be constant. You have to actually hop so you can see how many different distros are out there, and you get familiarized. You get familiarize yourself with the, how the Linux will work and everything, and then okay, maybe one day you're gonna make your own distro, for example, right? There's no rules here, right? Yeah, when you are with Microsoft and we are with Apple, you have to kind of follow the rules, whatever. But here, there's no rules. As long as it works for you. You can go for it. Another beginner distro that I recommend is Debian. If we had CentOS OS, if it was available, I would recommend it, but because we don't have, the closest best thing is this one. There are multiple versions of the desktop environment. Desktop environment, you can think like, okay, how the environment looks like. For example, me, I'm using Sway, slightly different on how would you find in a, separate distro. For example, here they have KDE Plasma. You may have the GNOME version. Sometimes they provide, sometimes they don't. But yeah, Fedora is a good distro. You can go for it. It's gonna be good enough. There is, I use Debian. By the way, I used Debian before, just to mention here. This one I used before. I haven't used the latest, but I use one of their versions, so I also recommend. This is Debian based, and then this is where it starts. Okay, some distro will be Debian based, Arch based, or whatever, but some will not. Some will be original. So Fedora is original, let's say. And this one is Ubuntu based, I think, elementary OS. I really like it. It reminds me of Mac, and you can see this how it looks like. They have a bunch of tools, and then you can use it. Go right ahead with this one. If you want to download, you're scared, oh, they're asking for money, whatever, okay, you can just put 0, and then it changes to downloads, okay? Let me zoom in for you. Yeah, so if you put 0, yeah. Because, most of these tools are free on open source. There's no big company behind them, so this is why they sometimes ask for support, which, if you have a couple bucks to throw, I recommend, I advise to send them their way, because, they make all this work for you. You just take and use it. Might as well, if you can, of course. Yeah, it's all about privacy on Linux, so yeah. There's also Linux Mint, another distribution that I use. I didn't use it as long, but I gave it to someone, they really, really liked it. So yeah, you can see there are multiple editions of this distribution. You can go ahead and go for it. The links will be in the description. You can just search the name. I used this one before as well. There's this one. I didn't use this one, but I heard good things about it. It's Arch based. They talk about enterprise based, whatever, enterprise grade. So go for it for this one. I heard good things about it. UI looks kind of nice, and it's Arch, so yeah. And then there is OpenSUSE. I don't know how to pronounce it. Go for it. They do have two versions, one for professional and the other is not. I think this is what they mean. Yeah, I heard good things about it. I don't know anybody that actually daily drives this distro, but I heard things about it, and they are part of the, I think they bought Rancher, which is a company that makes stuff that I like, so it's easy to recommend. They get a approval from me. And then the final one, oh no, wait, two more. Wait, yeah. There's another one, this one, CachyOS. I believe CachyOS is also Arch-based. Yeah, there you go, Arch-based. I haven't used it, but I heard good things about it. You can go right away and use it. This is more or less how it's gonna look like. And then there is Pop OS. Of course, it's also an Ubuntu-based distro. You can go right away and use it. So when I say, oh, Ubuntu-based, Arch-based, whatever, what the hell does that mean? That means, okay, if you ever find a problem, you can either search for your specific distro, or you can use Arch or that name as a base to look for your particular problem. And then you're gonna be able to resolve it. Or you want to install a software, instead of searching the name of your distro, you can just search the name of the OS that is based, and then it's gonna work for you. You know for sure it's gonna work. Now here are for my gamers out there. We do have gaming on Linux. So we have Bazzite over here that really stake the next generation of Linux gaming. Is it? I don't know. But because here's the thing with this thing. Here's the thing with this. Because it uses Linux, so it's not necessary that they sometimes this distribution, they do customize how the kernel is gonna look like through flags and the build process, whatever. But usually the core will be the same, because technically it's the same kernel. What changes is the tools that they add on top of it, right? That make it different. Oh, one might come with a store. One might be easy to plug and play. For example, this one is supposed to be plug and play. Other might have this particular tool, compatibility, but it's usually the same thing, yeah? So you're just picking which poison you prefer to drink from, but it's the same font, pretty much. You can think like that. So yeah, this is the gaming distro. There is PikaOS, also gaming distro. I believe they are Debian based. There you go, built on Debian. There you go. Yeah, the Debian base. It looks really good. If I wasn't going for this one, most likely I would have went for this speaker because it looks really good. Look at this. That's good. You install it, you get this. That's it. You don't have to do this. Can you get this type of level customization on Windows? No, you cannot. Come on, be serious now. Yeah, it looks really good. I tried to install, but at the time I didn't know about the dd command, so this is the reason why I didn't go for it. But otherwise, yeah, I would have went for this one. Then there is the Nobara project, which is Fedora based, or Fedora like. Sometimes we do get those type of distribution type of names. You can see this is what I was talking about before, that the desktop environment, you can get GNOME, you can get KDE, you can get something else, but they do look different, as you can see. Coloring is different, position is different. Just something to be aware. The fun fact here, the Nobara project is actually done by the what was the name of the guy? GE Gordon Eggroll or whatever. So he's the guy behind the Proton GE, right? So Valve, they made their Proton, right, which is based on Wine tech, right, which just tries to simulate Windows, tries to make it so, okay, Windows apps can run natively on Windows, right? So it's a translation layer, emulation layer. Valve took that and made it customizable for gaming specifically, and this guy, they took Proton and made it GE, Proton GE, right? So we have multiple supports, multi-level support here on Linux. This is the reason why, one of the reasons why I migrated. So yeah, go take a look. And with this, we now come to the end game of Linux distros. So these distros from here on out, there are distros, okay, once you get really comfortable with the terminal, you are okay with troubleshooting the things yourself, setting up things yourself, you can pick any of these distros, right? This is the advanced mode for Linux, right? Because these distros, once you install, as I understand, they don't come with any desktop, right? You just have a terminal and that's it. And then you build the desktop environment on top of it. So you're not able to even get your mouse, you only get the terminal and that's it. So the best one, of course, for me, I would have been rocking with this. This is the one that I tried before. It's Alpine Linux. It doesn't use GNU. Okay, this is why the GNU/Linux meme is dead, because we now have mostly, unless we're gonna try to make it mostly/Linux or whatever. But anyways, it doesn't use GNU. It uses its own thing. It's very lightweight. For those that work in IT, you're probably aware that the lightest images we can get is Alpine. If not, there's a bunch of customization. But like as a base, as Unix base, we use mostly Alpine. They have many versions that you can try out. None of them come with the desktop environment. You have to install it yourself. They do provide scripts, which is really good. And something interesting about this distro is that they split, for example, their packages to the point that, okay, if you want to install SSH, you can install OpenSSH client or server. I'm like, why don't we have more of this? Why don't we have more of this? I wish we had more of this, because, for example, in my machine right now, I don't need the server at all. I actually don't want the server, but I'm not able to install. Nobody split that before. It's like, okay, why nobody doing this? So the fact that they did that, I was like, all right, you're the one. Unfortunately, the reason why I'm not rocking with this distro, even though I like it very much, this is the one for me, is because NVIDIA dropped support for mostly in December 2024. So basically January 1st this year, they dropped support. So yeah, there was nothing I can do. I tried to use the Novoe, whatever, the open source driver, but it's just not the same. At least for me, the games I tested, it was not good. It was not good. So yeah, because I do have a GPU for NVIDIA, I was kind of forced to go to the GNU/Linux environment. Otherwise, I would be rocking this distro. Everything pretty much works out of the box. It's very developer oriented. They have security, very lightweight, you know, very, very good. I do recommend. Yeah, and by the way, just because I'm saying, oh, this is advanced, that doesn't mean you cannot, for example, go to YouTube and check, oh, how to install browser on X, and then you just try it out for yourself. It comes with a script that can install GNOME from scratch. Even Sway, this is kind of how I got started. So this Sway that you're seeing right here started, you know, in Alpine Linux. But unfortunately, due to the driver, yeah, I was forced to kind of leave it. And, you know, that's the point. If it doesn't work, okay, go somewhere else. Maybe one day, if NVIDIA listens to the support or whatever, then I'll come back. But I definitely like the distro a lot. This is my favorite distro. Then there is Void Linux. I heard good things about it. As I understand, it also comes, as you can see, one is base, so I'm assuming is the one without the GUI, right? Graphic user interface, and the other is XFSE. I heard good things about it. I never used it, but it looks good. You know, for what I see in the installation process and everything, they come with their own package manager. It's not based on anything. If we go to home, I think they say here, yeah, it's not a fork. Void Linux is an independent distribution developer entirely by volunteers. So this is why it's here. Okay, the fact that they did this is great. We love to see that. So shout out to the Void Linux. And then there is the end game of Linux distribution. Arch Linux is known to be very hard to install. This is the one I'm using right now. Just kidding, I'm not. I'm using Artix Linux, which is Arch base. The reason why I'm using this one, I say for the end, is because I don't like systemd. I don't sue me. No, don't sue me because I don't have money. Send me money. Send me money. Explain why the systemd is better. Whatever, I don't care. So yeah, if I go to here, they offer four even. Sheesh. They offer 4 different bases that you can use. One of them is my favorite. Again, in Alpine is used mainly, which is OpenRC. This is what I'm rocking right now. Artix with OpenRC. I just installed the things that I wanted. And that's kind of how I'm rolling, right? No, that's not what I wanted at all. Let me show you. So if I come here, we zoom in a little bit. We don't use neo fetch, fast fetch, whatever the hell fetch. We're not posers over here. We're actually working and we produce results. So yeah, we're using Artix Linux. Doesn't say anything about OpenRC. So let's do pacman q, and then we just grab OpenRC. You can see there's a bunch of packages. One of them is OpenRC. This is what I use. Yeah. So I'm using Artix. Are you surprised? Was this the distro that you were expecting me to use? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Now for the bonus here, the tools. Which tools am I using? As you can see, I'm using Artix already. Yeah, I already mentioned. The way I troubleshoot my problems, I start with Artix, but they don't have a very in-depth wiki. If I can truly be honest, but it's good enough. Because they Arch based, they just rely on the Arch wiki. Everybody relies on Arch wiki. If every time you have some type of problem, remember to check on the Arch wiki. So if we go like this, we have the wiki from Artix, but all I do is like, okay, did I find my problem here? No. So I just change here. Of course, I open a new tab or whatever. I just, you know, I just type Alpine. Boom! I get the Alpine wiki because they use OpenRC. I use OpenRC, so most of the things that they showcase here, it works for me. And that's the beauty of Linux, right? Even though I'm using a completely different system, I can use things from another system. But everything pretty much boils down to going to Arch. I forgot the R. Why does it say forbidden? Maybe without this. There you go. Arch Linux. So Arch Linux has pretty much the best wiki that there is. Any type of problem you can think of, It's gonna be here. Just be aware that they use system D as a foundation. That's because it's part of their distro, which is fine. I don't, so sometimes you kind of have to be aware. Oh, they mentioned this because of system D, so yeah, stuff like that. Now let's go to the tools I use. So if I go here, I'm already here. So yeah, I don't, for example, that's the beauty of it. Yeah, I don't feel like I need, right? Because I'm an advanced user pretty much. I don't feel like I need a file manager, right? So my file manager is the terminal. I use the terminal to check my stuff. Does that mean you have to do it? No, you don't. But you know, that's how I use it. So if I look here, not here, I'm lying. There you go. If I look here, these are some of the tools that I use. I have it configured. I have Sway, so you can see this is Sway. I can open a bunch. I have it stacked, so that means however many I create, right, instances of the terminal I create, you know, you just get stacked, and I can go to a different workspace. Now everything is gone. Here I can open the browser. I have OBS recording here. You can see at the bottom of the screen. My setup is not at all pretty. I know it's very minimalistic. This is kind of how I like my stuff. I prefer things to be functional. Why am I closing like that? I prefer things to be functional than, I don't know, pretty, whatever. I use Ghosty as my terminal, so this is what you're seeing. I set up in Ghosty. What else is there? I use Git, of course. I'm a developer, whatever. Sue me. I use NeoVim, so if I open Vim here, this is my NeoVim. It has some stuff in it. We can open. What can we open? Can open this. It has some stuff in it. This is my configuration for Sway. I pretty much have everything set up. Something that I'm struggling a little bit with is identifying the monitors. If someone can help, TikTok, help. So if I open here, I created the script that kind of tries to identify the monitors, but once you set it up, so it kind of doesn't remember from the configuration side, so I have to either set up everything here or whatever. What I would like is simply to, if I come here, because I already have this definition here. If you look down here, right, and this is pretty much how I work. I have two here. I can open a new one, and then it's within the same terminal. I can open as many as I want, but if I want a brand new, I can just do this, and this is kind of how I work. I don't need nothing fancy. I don't need nothing, you know, whatever. So I have some setup. I would just like to use these variables that are being set here. For some reason, it's not possible. The AI keeps telling me, yeah, this is how it works, but it's not working for me. If you can help, let me know. I use NeoVim as my editor. I'm recording with OBS. You can see here, OBS Studio is native. Something that happened in Arch, recently, a bunch of AUR have been compromised. They have viruses in them, malware. People say, oh, Linux doesn't get hacked or whatever. No, it does, actually, you know, way more than you expect, but it's just in a different way in comparison to Windows, right? So yeah, so I don't use the AURs here at all. There is one AUR that I use, which is coming from the developers themselves. One of the developers, he created an AUR, and from the AUR, I'm simply getting my browser, which is here, is Zen browser, right? I have my shortcuts ready, so yeah, nothing spectacular. I use Pulse Audio for my audio. It was a mess to set it up. If I show, I always forget here. This is selecting, for example, the video sources. Let me zoom out a little bit, like this. My problem was here. For some reason, he selected the microphone, which makes no sense. I don't know why anyways, yeah, that was the problem I was having. I use Wolfie as my search, so this is my search. Again, not pretty. It's here to be functional, not pretty at all. As you can see, I do have games. As soon as I press enter, it works. This is another game I just installed. I'm gonna be playing that later. NeoVim is here. Some stuff I don't care about, but yeah, Steam is here, OBS is here. My editor that I use is Shortcut. It opens, it works. It's multi-platform. This is me playing with my wife. Pause. As you can see, audio's working. I come here, I edit, I do this stuff, I do new whatever. You know, we work here. It works. It works. Okay? Linux work, people. Stop being afraid of Linux. It's asking me to save. I don't want. What else is there? Which kernel am I using? I have it here. So if I do A, does it say? No, it doesn't. Okay, that's fine. We do go to Pacman again, which is the package installer or package manager, whatever, doesn't matter. We just grab I on Linux. And you can see these are the firmwares I'm using. This is the guy that was giving me so much trouble, but it fucking worked now, so I'm very happy. I'm using the LTS kernel. That's pretty much all I'm using. What else? I'm using NVIDIA, so let's check on NVIDIA. How we doing? NVIDIA, I'm using the open. That's the thing. It's not open source. It is the open headers or whatever the hell NVIDIA is doing. I don't know. Don't ask me. Nothing I can do. Yeah, Steam is still using 32-bit, probably because of retro compatibility. So this is why we have the 32 version of the same thing. And this is it. This is it. Overall, that's it. Let me check my notes. Yeah, OpenSUSE system init, but not sure if it's interesting to show that. Sure, let's show. Why the hell not? No, let's just do tail, like, I don't know, 50 or whatever. Var log, I always miss that one. So yeah, my interface was fucking up. Oh no, I leaked my IP, no. Anyways, yeah, my firewall, I'm using UFW, so I'll just do, I'm not using sudo, I'm using duas, which is the same thing. Let me just show you real quick how it is. Maybe I'm gonna be able to do it. This is it. This is the configuration for me to set up the duas, because I'm part of the group. Everything works. I don't need sudo. But you know, I hate systemd, so of course I'll be using tools like that. Yeah, the UFW. Let's go for the UFW. I just do, I think it was status verbose. My bad. My bad, gang. There you go. The default rules are to deny everything, so no, you'll not be able to hack me. The allow is just for instantiated from my computer. Everything else disable. I don't care. This is pretty much where I stand. I'm gonna be using AppArmor to kind of secure, because you know there's no antiviruses for Linux. So, but if you can be secure on your own, that would be great. So I'm looking into AppArmor. I'm gonna be using that to protect the processes, inter-processes communication. Just so, for example, I don't go to a website and then that website downloads some JavaScript and this JavaScript is stealing all my data type shit. Yeah. Yeah, so I just wanted to showcase how it is, how it works, how it's not. So moving forward from this date, all games will be coming from here. Oh, but these two Adobe doesn't work. Okay, we have Affinity. I'm gonna be using fucking GIMP. I don't care. I don't care. Oh, this game with kernel level anti-cheat doesn't work. I don't care. In my opinion, games should not have kernel level anti-cheat, because when you run in the kernel space, you get access to everything on the user space. So if you're doing some banking information, whatever, you exchange some banking, those applications are able to see that. Did you know that? Did you know that? Exactly. So it becomes such a commodity that, okay, everybody just using kernel level anti-cheat. First of all, I don't like that, right? I'm not a fan of that. That doesn't mean I'll never play games that have a kernel level anti-cheat, but it's like, okay, if I have to play a kernel level anti-cheat game, it has to be a game that I really want to play. For example, I used to drop, you know, I used to kick noobs ass in PUBG, but that has kernel level anti-cheat and it's not on Linux. For me, it's like, okay, I just want an excuse not to play your game. So if you say, oh, kernel level, your game has kernel level anti-cheat, for me, that's an excuse for me to not play, right? And not everything that is out there is for me, and that's okay. I have like 600 games on my Steam library. Many games get released pretty much every freaking second now, so I'll be fine. If I don't play a game, I'll be fine. Okay. I'm a fan of single player games anyways, and those don't come with kernel level anti-cheat, so it's fine. Oh, GTA 6, you're not gonna be able to play. Okay, then I won't be able to play. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, for real. It's okay. We don't have to go and have everything, right? If you're not making your game for Linux, I'm not gonna play it. That's it. If I try to play it, it doesn't work, I'm gonna move on. I have shit to do. Okay? So yeah. I hope this video was informational. I don't know. It was informative. I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you understand why I migrated to this, and tips and tricks how to move forward with it. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. And remember, we out here.